The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode.
The summer of 2004 at 20.
Another week on summer of 2004 at 20 on the Brandon Peters Show. And another fine close for you today, as we do with a music video chat. With me, I'm very happy to bring along cherished author, an absolute staple of the show. He has his own mug in the studio, Greg McGoon.
Hello, hello. I'm excited to be here, back.
Yeah, Greg. Finally. For some reason, I'm a dum-dum, and you've never been on the Summer Up series at all. Yeah, but now you're here.
Okay.
And happy to have you. So, let's begin as we do always with every music video person. Where were you at in 2004? What was life of Greg McGoon like in 2004?
Oh man, you're aging me here now. So a little bit younger than you though.
Yeah.
But not that much. I was a senior in high school. That was my final year of high school. It was 2004. I graduated in spring of 04, June of 04. So I was going through major life transition of what's next for me and planning, like getting ready for college. I'd already been accepted into college by 2004, so I knew what I was doing. But yeah, I was just finishing up my senior year. The first half of my senior year was like a disaster. I missed most of it. I was actually in the hospital up until like December of 2003. So like 2004, after winter break for school, I returned after being away for like 2 months of my senior year. I was like out of school for like 2 months.
Wow.
Or like a month and a half. Yeah, it was a whole like ordeal. So my senior year was a very peculiar one. But then right when I got back after winter break, was just gearing up for the end of the year. Still managed to get, I think, like straight A's ish. I think I have one B. And yeah, I was just ready for college, ready for change, ready for everything like that. And our big high school show was, well, we had 7 shows a year, and the musical we did that year was The Music Man. But we did 2 regular plays, 2 like straight plays, and I was in one of them, and I'm trying to remember what that one was. I want to say it was a like Kaufman and Hart play or something. Anyway, Man Who Guess Who's Coming to Dinner or something like that, or Man Who Came to Dinner, one of those. Anyway, so that's what I was doing in 2004, and then by summer of it, it was just college prep. I was a teacher at a summer theater intensive for kids ages 9 to 12, I guess. So I've been doing that for years, but now that I graduated, I like kind of moved up in rank, and was doing that during the summer. I was working with my kids all summer.
Gotcha. That's fun. Yeah, senior year at my high school, which was 2000, 99, 2000 year. We had 2 productions. Finally did a drama in the fall. It's the first one they'd done in like over a decade, and then spring musical. So
Okay.
those are fun. We did 10 Little Indians in the fall. I played General Mackenzie, which is General MacArthur in the book. And then we did Hello Dolly for my senior musical, and I was Barnaby Tucker.
What? Wait,
Yay.
Hello Dolly. You did that in 2004?
2000. So I was just saying, you mentioned you did.
I was gonna say our school did Hello Dolly, but that was in. I think that was also in. No, it was 2001. I think is when my high school Hello Dolly. So because I know I worked on Hello Dolly. It might have been 2002 actually, but I know I worked on Hello. I think we did Hello Dolly, then Oklahoma, then Music Man. I think was that order. Anyway, so that's funny that you did Hello Dolly as well.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
And I think 2004 was the first time I saw Shania Twain in concert in the spring of.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the summer of 2004 or later on, we have the movies we talked about this week. which let's see if you've seen any of them and had any thoughts. Did you see the documentary Control Room?
I did not.
Okay. It's about media reporting and stuff in Iraq during the war.
Oh,
It wasn't quite a war yet, was it? I don't know. It was getting there.
yeah.
Badass, which is the documentary, or not, it was the biopic on Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song. Mario Van Peebles doing it about his father, Melvin Van Peebles.
Oh,
Film.
yeah, I don't know much about it, but I know it.
Gotcha. The re-release of Donnie Darko.
Yeah, definitely know that. I
Okay.
own that on DVD as well. That was big for that one was introduced to me, and then a group like my friend group at the time was like obsessed with that movie too. So when that happened, I was like, oh, Donnie Darko, and then that mask, everybody did that
Mm-hmm.
mask, the bunny mask or whatever. That
Oh
was
yeah,
very popular.
yeah. I was in college at the time, and that was a pass around movie,
Yep.
for sure. And then lastly, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yep, definitely. I was at that point, I hadn't read the books. I know all like the Potter heads are gonna be like attacking me for that. But I did see the movie, and I did go with the I went with people from the theater program that I was teaching at over the summer. So we made that like an outing to go
Gotcha.
see that one come out. So yep.
And I didn't read any of the Harry Potters until right before the Deathly Hallows came out. I decided in that time I was like, you know what, I'm gonna read the last book, or I'm gonna read them all the books when there's the last one left. So, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, this was the Azkaban was the first one of them that really like, I don't know, there's something that drew me more to it, with that one, and then Goblet of Fire concealed it. But because I was like, it took me. Yeah, it was the following years when I'd finally see the Harry Potter movies, because I was just like, look at what the kids have nowadays, and then I was like, oh, these are actually really good. So, boo
I
on
got
me.
in. Yeah, I got into them for what they were, but I wasn't like I wasn't somebody who was raced into the theaters when they came out or anything
Hmm.
like that. I was more like a lot of people I knew were obsessed with them, and I wasn't gonna like criticize any of them for that. So like when it come along and I'm like, yeah, I want to be included. So I didn't know half the time what anything meant or what it all was. So I just kind of was like, yeah, this is great, and was along for the ride.
Yeah, nothing
So
made me feel older than me and Scott Mendelson and a couple of our friends from work. Was Sharon and Celeste. So if either of you listen to this show, hello. At the City Walk, the theater there, AMC. We Friday night. This is before people pre-bought ticket. Like you had to like stand there and wait. And that was one of the first times in my life I was 2005. I was 23. Felt old. It was like the first. I felt really old standing in line there, and I was only 23. But it is what it is. But that's one of the first times in my life I was like, man, I think I'm old now or older, but all good.
nah.
So, but we are here today to talk about Naughty Girl, the fourth single from Beyonce's debut album, Dangerously in Love. It was preceded by Crazy in Love, Baby Boy, Me, Myself, and I. And there would be one more after it, with The Closer I Get to You. The album, this one hit #1 on the charts with 6 times platinum in the US and sold over 11 million copies worldwide. This particular song peaked at #3 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart and reached gold status in sales. The song interpolates Donna Summer's Love to Love You Baby and was originally intended as the lead single for the album. But you know what? Her and Jay-Z dropping one together is probably the best way to
Yeah.
knock one out. So, Greg, thoughts on just before you get in the video of the song, Naughty Girl?
I mean, I love the song. I love that album. And here's like what's tricky is I know it's like summer of '04, but the album came out in '03. So
Hmm.
I was like a Beyonce fan because I was a massive Destiny's Child fan. Like I waited at midnight to buy like the Survivor album, like as like a child. So
Hmm.
I was Beyonce went solo, I was like, I'm in. So I had that album already the year prior. But then back then, like singles got released later. But if you knew, you knew, and you already knew all the music. So I
Right.
was familiar with the song. Um, I think I'm trying to think if it was my favorite. I haven't done like a re-listen to that whole album yet, but I think it was one of my I think it was my favorite on the album at the time. But by the time the music video had been released, I was already like, I already know this. How are people just finding out now about it type of thing? Because that was kind of how it worked back then. Like if you didn't get the album, you kind of waited for singles to like get released, and the music videos were much bigger back then than they are now.
Hmm.
So I was already on the Beyoncé bandwagon, um, and familiar with the song by the time it became kind of its peak position, um, which was like cool to see her have so many like kind of hits coming off that album as well. Um, because like it's like a Shania Twain back in with her Come On Over album where she just had like single after single after single that did well.
Jagged
Beyonce
Little Pill that had like half the album was singles.
Exactly. So it was nice to see that like Beyonce was kind of able to do that with her first solo album, and it was interesting to see what was going to be next. And I was surprised that that song took as long as it did to come out because it was what the album came out in like June of '03, and this
Mhm.
song was a single in March of '03, like March of '04, I mean, or something like that. So that was quite some time that passed before this even became a single.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, the marketing train's a little longer. I imagine she was touring at the time, so there's always maybe she was hitting a different leg and they're hitting another single, or I mean, there's another single after this too. So I mean,
Yep.
there's maybe going overseas and popping a new one out or something like that. I don't know where she was at on this, but yeah, I like Beyonce. I mean, this was a weird time for me. Well, this was like some of my last grasps of being like knowing what was popular because I would move, I was getting ready to go one more year of college and I moved to Los Angeles the following summer and like lose touch with what was like popular because like the people I was hanging around and the nightclubs I was going to weren't just like playing the hits. Like going to like growing up in Indiana, going to bars, clubs, whatever. Here, they just play the cool stuff on the radio at the clubs. There's no one like experimenting, no one trying to
Oh,
play the cool new stuff all the time or being ahead of the game. Like that's not how they operate here. It's like play the stuff on the radio and that's what people want. So
yeah.
I would be a whole new world open to me when the going out, the nightlife in Los Angeles, and the people I'd be around. But this is kind of the end of me knowing what's what. Because I would at house parties and stuff, I DJ, not like a DJ. I just made playlists or pick the songs throughout the night. Um, but this is a big one. And yeah, if it literally feels like it could have been the first single, or like, or wait, this and this were on the same album. If you were just like paying attention or going back, thinking now, and but yeah, this is a fun song with a nice little like good beat.
Hmm.
That's a little standoutish compared to what was going on with a lot of different songs in the summer. The video we got, it's directed by Jake Neva, who comes in having directed the Spice Girls, Tina Turner, Cranberries, other Beyonce videos, including Baby Boy and Crazy in Love. So he was like the guy for this album. He did Milkshake around this time. Um, and we'll check back later with him this summer when we discuss the video for Burn by Usher, as he did that one too. And maybe on the set next to this because Usher is in this video. So he goes on to do videos for Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, Natalie Imbruglia, System of a Down, Mariah Carey, James Blunt, Kanye West, Adele, Alicia Keys, Lana Del Rey, and plenty more Beyonce. So really one of the go-to people in pop music to get that. So this is video is apparently inspired by the dancing of Sid Charisse and Fred Astaire in the 1953 musical comedy film The Bandwagon. And this is, I mean, not a whole lot to this video, but it's a very stylish one. It's kind of one of those that I like to call the mall store, the mall like cool clothing store music video where it's like it looks
Yeah.
good in the background of like, you're shopping at like Buckle Express, whatever you want to go to at the mall, and it's all about like something stylish. It's kind of got a cabaret nightclubs dancing
Yep.
like burlesque without the burl on it, and Usher sitting admiring, like he might have been a different day, like the way he's in this video.
Yeah.
It's got vintage Prohibition era costuming with a modern feel, and
Yep.
yeah, this is a style points video and glamour for Beyonce. She sports like 5 different looks and multiple hairstyles in this. So yeah, so Greg, your thoughts on this video?
I love the video. I mean, it does feel very of its time, but at the same time, it kind of does have a timeless feel because it is such a hodgepodge of styles in its
Hmm.
own way. Because yeah, it is, as you kind of said, where it kind of has that like mall fashion, but like elevated, but then also a bit of that period feel to it, and then that like Art Deco-ish style to it. And then it has definitely the burlesque feel, especially towards the end with the giant champagne glass like kind of motif, which like we've seen in a lot of like Beyonce kind of in that champagne glass, the giant one. Um, and then even like when she's after the introduction of her in the video and she moves into the club, she's wearing that kind of like furred big robe type of um coat thing that she then reveals into her more of her dance outfit. So there is a very like glam sense to it, which I really like. But it's such like an empowering song, even though I'm not like a woman, but it like I love how she takes like ownership of herself, unlike other music where she's like, oh, like I'm gonna be naughty and I know that you want me, but she does it in a way where she's in control about it the whole time. You
Hmm.
never feel like the male gaze in that typical way that you feel in maybe like other videos where women were more objectified at the time. Like Beyonce kind of turned the tables with this music video in a sense, or at least while rewatching it a few times, it was like she basically has like all these men kind of wrapped around her finger more, and she's the one that's kind of in control about it, and she's the one that's kind of dictating this whole thing. And I think that's great. Like I like it because I guess in like a gay perspective, there really isn't that like defined gender role of things. So
Uh-huh.
there's more of like an overt sexuality, I guess, that gays tend to lean towards. And women don't really have that opportunity as much because of like the way society has been. And I feel like this is a way for her to be like, we can like to be naughty. We can like just enjoy this moment. We can
Hmm.
have fun in a one night stand because you had other singers in the past or other men doing stuff like this. And like here comes Beyonce doing it in a more classy way in these outfits in a nightclub and really just owning it and doing actual choreography with it, which was kind of cool. And you can kind of see the influences there. Although it's been so long since I've seen the bandwagon, that
Yeah.
now I want to kind of see how that parallels. But but they do have the partner dancing with Usher in the video.
Hmm.
So that was kind of nice to see like the partner dancing in there and it not just feel like it's some like hoochie raunchy video because there's nothing really like raunchy about the video, despite the lyrics being like naughty girl.
Right.
It's done in a very tasteful, like empowering way. So yeah.
It's more Bob Fosse than Michael Bay in terms of its
Yep,
sexuality and leering ability.
exactly.
Which Michael Bay was a music video director. But like yeah, there's no leer there. But Beyonce looks like she's having fun. Like that's what
Yep.
I like about this. This is her at still a bit of a youthful innocence to her, and like pre like diva, like I have all the power in the world presence that kind of soaks in. There's like a more fun here, and I'm a-okay with how she is and like where she's risen to, but like she's like a kid having fun here, and now it's like there's purpose, kind of with her, with what she's doing.
Yeah, which I love. Like, I mean, I love her evolution with
Hmm.
everything, and like, you won't go on the whole like how much I love Beyonce right now, but you can even see in this video how there were so many ways I think of the time to do it,
Hmm.
but she still picked a way to she still had references, and she still kind of a lot of like she like kind of, and again what she does, well, I'll go into a little bit now, but like again what she did with like Lemonade or other things later on with that purpose you were talking about, where she kind of like claims blackness for herself and everything else. She's doing a style that what at least in Naughty Girl that wasn't, I guess, is typically, I guess, really, like I don't think it was typically associated with black artists
Mm-hmm.
at the time, like that kind of style that she did. So even then, doing the way she did that music video kind of showed like, I'm not going to follow the rules of like what's expected of a black artist, or I'm not going to do this. She kind of did it in her way. Like she referenced a 1950s very white movie. Um,
Right.
like, I mean, sorry, but like Bandwagon's a white movie.
Super
Um,
white. No,
yeah.
100%.
So, but like, it's fascinating that she does this and makes it feel fresh and her own, and you don't think about it. You just are along for the ride with her. So I guess it's a nice little like way of foreshadowing how she's are able to um take the past
Mm-hmm.
and find ways to rework it, as we're seeing now with Cowboy Carter and her just honoring and referencing the past. This wasn't as direct, I would say, as the work that she's doing now, but you can see there's thought behind it. I don't know. I mean, based on what we know of Beyonce, she tends to have her hand in everything that she
Mm-hmm.
does. I'm assuming it was like that at the beginning of her career, so I don't think she was just handed this concept and said like this is what we're doing. I think she was probably
Right.
collaboratively involved. So I loved her ability to jump on that or go along with it and like build on these ideas in an unexpected way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, respect. I mean, I've always respected her.
Right.
So
You'd expect, I mean, you'd think like if you saw a video like this, you could easily like picture like Christina Aguilera in a video like this.
yep.
But Beyonce, yeah, and it probably comes from her own taste. Like, just because she's black doesn't mean she doesn't like old honky cracker white movies. Like she probably
Yeah.
got something. And watching the moves of Fred Astaire was probably something she studied and probably something she took interest to. So I could see where that could come from, and maybe, and who knows, maybe she at least had a hand in something. Maybe it was brought to her, or somebody wanted to do something. She added to it too. But like her stamp is definitely there,
Oh
um,
yeah.
at some point. So that's very very true. And it's kind of like interesting with this is like I feel like you just know that she was Destiny's Child kind of because like you could easily close your eyes and picture this being a Destiny's Child song too, which
Yeah.
means you could easily close your eyes and those Destiny's Child songs should just be Beyonce solo efforts as well. So
In some ways, yeah.
yeah,
Some ways,
not
yeah.
that
You could.
Kelly's not talented. Um,
Michelle is
and
too.
Michelle is
Give
too,
Michelle credit. But yeah, no, Kelly
but
Rowland. I mean, Kelly Rowland is. I mean, they're both. All three of them are very talented in their own right. Um, so and like Kelly Rowland was a judge on The Voice Australia for
she was
years.
in Freddy versus Jason as well. So respect.
Yeah, she dabbled in acting as well. So she has like her career, and I like all three of them. Well, and then well, four actually. I mean, Destiny's Child was four people.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, it's five technically. Then you
five. I was
get
gonna
rid
say it
of
was
two, and
five.
then replace two with one,
Yep.
and then yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah. But yes, it definitely does feel like you could have easily have had Michelle and Kelly in this song somehow, like doing Naughty Girl like backup vocals or other
mm-hmm.
things, and made it a but I think but I liked that it wasn't, because I think it was
Yep.
it was Beyonce taking her like solo career and again empowering herself, and like, I'm gonna be whatever I want to be, not what you tell me to be. And if I want to be sexy, I'm gonna be sexy. If I
Mm-hmm.
want to be this, I'm gonna be this way. And I think she always kind of defined the way she wanted to be viewed. Um, and those who liked it were along for the ride. And I mean, we all know she's gotten pushback over the years. So, and I think a good artist allows and opens himself up for pushback.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Trailblazer. That's what you gotta be.
yep,
So yeah, very cool. But yeah, that's Naughty Girl. By two guys talking about Naughty Girl. Um, so that'll do it for today, Greg. You'll be joining us back here at the other end of the summer. So until then, where can people keep up with you?
You can find me on social media at the McGoonies. So the McGoonies. That's all of them. I mostly just use Instagram, but the handle is the same for whatever social media is out there.
Gotcha. The best one, as I say, the Instagram.
Yeah.
That's my personal fave. Okay, for me, I'm on those same socials at Brandon 4K UHD. As always, I invite you to come check out PopCon Louisville at the end of August 23rd through 25th at the Kentucky International Convention Center in downtown Louisville. Our big guest that I can talk about now, some of these episodes have been recorded where I was not allowed to discuss it, is Anson Mount, star of Crossroads, of course, and Urban Legends Final Cut, but some people might know him from Star Trek, Strange New Worlds. So check out that. Check out the live podcast stage. You can sign up at popcon.us and maybe I'll get you a spot there. So all that and more, popcon.us, end of August. Very exciting. And then Monday, Scott Aaron and I take in The Stepford Wives, Napoleon Dynamite, Garfield, the movie, and The Chronicles of Riddick. So come back as the summer of 2004 at 20 continues.
The summer